The Moa bird is an extinct giant of New Zealand. Our huge planet has many unique creatures. Unfortunately, not all animals remained on it until today. Many amazing creatures, which now seem unimaginable to us, lived on Earth just a few centuries ago. One such creature was the Moa bird, endemic to New Zealand. This extinct bird was characterized by its gigantic size. Below you will find a description and photos of the Moa bird, and learn a lot of interesting things about it. The moa or dinornis is an extinct species of penniless birds. These amazing creatures once inhabited the islands of New Zealand. The Moa bird reached enormous sizes and had no wings. Dinornis had powerful legs and a long neck. Their feathers were similar to hair and were mostly brown in color. They covered the entire body except for the legs and head. The giant moa were huge, reaching a height of 3.5 meters and weighing about 250 kilograms. The females were larger than the males. The Moa bird was herbivorous, eating a variety of fruits, roots, shoots, and leaves. Dinornithidae ingested pebbles along with their food, which helped them to grind up tough plant foods. Altogether, about 10 species of moa are known to science, and not all of them were as large. Some were as large as a turkey. Moas grew slowly, so they didn't reach their adult size until they were about 10 years old. As these birds lived without terrestrial enemies, their reproductive cycle was rather long, and the female only laid one egg. The slow reproductive rate may have been one of the reasons for the extinction of the moa. The female incubated the egg for 3 months, and all this time the male provided her with food. The moa egg was very large and white with a greenish tint and weighed about 7 kilograms. The islands of New Zealand are an amazing place on the planet, which has a unique fauna. Before the advent of man, there were no land mammals in New Zealand. The islands were a true bird's paradise. It is likely that the ancestors of the large moa could fly, but they evolved to lose this ability under prosperous conditions. The large moa inhabited both the South and North Islands. They lived in colonies in the foothills, dense forests, and brushwood. In the 13th century, the Maori Aborigines appeared in New Zealand and began to hunt the moa for meat en masse. The dinornis were not ready to meet humans because they had had few natural enemies before that in New Zealand. The tribes of the Polynesian Maori settlers caused the extinction of the large moa. They exterminated these giants as early as the 1500s. However, there is unconfirmed evidence from locals who still encountered the Moa bird in the late 18th and early 19th centuries. Moa bird is endemic of New Zealand, that is, this bird species lived only in this place on the planet. However, like the kiwi bird, which is also found only in New Zealand. In 1986, an expedition to the caves of Mount Owen in New Zealand was conducted. Researchers visited the most remote corners and stumbled upon part of a mummified paw of a large bird in these caves. The remains were surprisingly well preserved, as if the animal to which they belonged had died not long ago. It was later discovered that the paw belonged to a giant moa. The studies of moa were actively conducted at the end of the 19th century, and a great number of found remains, feathers and shells of these birds allowed to reconstruct their appearance and skeleton. By the way, during the research it was found out that the first representatives of the moa appeared more than 2,000 years ago. Studies of these birds continue today. Scientists have not lost hope of finding a living specimen in the depths of the islands, and the stories of local eyewitnesses encourage to do so. Even if we find confirmation that the moa are still alive, it is unlikely it will be those giants of 3.5 meters in height. Most likely it will turn out to be a smaller moa species, but in any case it will be amazing. If you liked this video and want to know more interesting things about animals, subscribe to our channel and get the latest and greatest news about the animal world first.